All right, good sheep. All right, I'm chicken sitting again for the weekend, and it's time to make some dinner. I drink almost a half gallon. She's just started dipping under a half gallon a day of sheep milk, kefir. I drink that every day. That gives me a half gallon of sheep milk is 2,100 calories, so I'm probably getting 2,000 calories still, but I like to have at least one meal a day that has some greens in it and potatoes usually. I eat potatoes 4 or 5 days out of the week. Yesterday I had bread. I made some really good bread. And actually I ate that 2 days in a row because it was so dense. I used my foraged grain that still had the bran in it, so it was like super nutritious and heavy. And so I fed off that for the last 2 days actually. Now I'm gonna go get some wild edibles, and I'm gonna use my sheep's whey, kefir whey, to boil the potatoes in, cook them, give them some added flavor. Got my foraging bag, and this person's property only has 3 wild edibles, wild edible greens that are available. It's got amaranth here, got lamb's quarter here, and they got purslane here. Amaranth, lamb's quarter, and purslane. And what I do when I come out here is I try to find the amaranth that my sheep have eaten down, so that the plant has to start back over again and start growing, so that it's not as far along in its growth stage, because when it gets into its flowering and seed stage like this, all plants, when they get in their seeding stage, start to concentrate their creation of anti-nutrients. One of the most reported on that people have heard of is called phytic acid. That's PHYTIC, phytic acid, and it basically prevents a lot of your nutrients from being bioavailable, especially calcium. So if you're going to eat amaranth and you see an amaranth plant that looks like this and an amaranth plant that looks like this, it's way healthier to pick the one that is not as far along in its seeding stage, because it won't have as much of that phytic acid and those other anti-nutrients. But this is even further along than, say, these over here. So this is more the stage that I'm looking for to collect, and this one's even more perfect. So the smaller the seed heads, the further behind they are, and the healthier they are. And also the more tender they are. And I like the amaranth because it seems to have the longest window of between its vegetation stage and its seeding stage. So my sheep are able to catch it and knock it back down quicker. They also like amaranth a lot more than lamb's quarter, so they don't even really eat the lamb's quarter. And lamb's quarter goes into seed really quickly, and it's, as you can see, its leaves are just so much smaller to be able to collect than these tops of the amaranths. And the amaranth also has a lot more foliage. So the amaranth has a lot more foliage to make it more efficient to actually grab and harvest. And it also has a less of a strong flavor. The lamb's quarter has a particular flavor that is tasty at first, but it gets really old really fast when you're eating these things day in and day out. The purslane, it has a pretty big window of seeding, and its foliage is really abundant. So it's actually by far the most efficient to be able to gather. But it's got like a slimy texture to it that is not bad at all at first, but it gets really old really fast. Here's some good amaranth right here. See how small that is to the new growth. New growth amaranth. That's exactly what I was looking for. Some new growth little tips. So yeah, the purslane stems, you can't really eat the stems of the lamb's quarter or the amaranth. It's not that they're not poisonous, just they're tough, but the stems of these purslane are actually very edible. Some of them get really fat too, like this one right here, so I'll pick this one. Yeah, purslane is just so quick and easy and efficient to forage time-wise and difficulty-wise. But I like the amaranth flavor the most by far. So I try to make my daily food, like 3 parts amaranth to like 2 parts purslane and 1 part lamb's quarter. If there was more lamb's quarter and it wasn't in seed, then I'd probably pick equal parts of the purslane and the lamb's quarter. But as you can see, this lamb's quarter is all really seeded right here. You got some right here that aren't nearly as far along that I will eat. And the seeds themselves have more of the phytic acid and those other anti-nutrients than even the grain. So, yeah, just good to know not to eat too much grain. It's one of the reasons that they say it's not good to eat so much grain. The amaranth, the lamb's quarter seed is not really big, and it's not really, you can't like really grind it up into flour. Because it doesn't have anything inside of it, like no starches, no actual flour when you grind it up. It's just all whole. But the amaranth makes excellent flour, bread flour. It makes very, very smooth and light, fluffy bread. And it's about to go into seed right now. So in the next week, I will start harvesting the amaranth seed and making breads. Here's some good lamb's quarter that are smaller, since my sheep ate them and knocked them back down in their stage of production. Here's some good amaranth. And if you watch the sheep know. They know, and they eat the same new growth buds. They don't like the big seedy ones like this, because that phytic acid that the plants are producing is actually a communication device to communicate with foraging animals, not to eat all of their babies, all their seeds. That's why they start producing more of it when they're in their seeding stage. My sheep know it. They're smart. They're in tune. More in tune with nature than man is. This is something else right here. There's some good amaranth. Lots of good amaranth here. Nice tender amaranth leaves. There we go. I try to get at least 2 handfuls of wild edibles. So I got, I don't know if you can see. I got 2 handfuls there. At least. That's what I need to stay healthy. There's some more. There's some more good ones. Yeah. You get lots of amaranth. Looking pretty good. Got another good lamb's quarter right here.